3, 2, 1.
Welcome to 96.3 OHM Radio. This is Tales from the Manor, presented by Enough Pie, a nonprofit organization in Charleston's Upper Peninsula that uses creativity to connect and empower the community. Tales from the Manor features a conversation with residents of Joseph Floyd Manor with me, Jae Smith, and my co-host, Summer Anderson. Joseph Floyd Manor is a public housing high-rise in Charleston's Upper Peninsula filled with unique and wise elders who have incredible stories to share with the world. We're here to shine a little light on these neighbors and learn a little more about the people that came before us. So thank you for listening. Today I'd like to welcome our special guest, Kenneth Buck. Thank you so much for joining us today in the studio. How are you doing?
I felt pretty good today.
That's good. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you so much for being here, Kenneth. We like to start off every show by asking our guests, can you share where and when you were born and a little about the place where you grew up?
Sure. It was Niagara Falls, New York, and I was born in 1959. A lot of my childhood was great. We used to ride our bikes over the Rainbow Bridge to Canada. I always loved the Canada side better. People were really friendly and seemed to be a lot cleaner back then.
Mm-hmm.
We climbed up the side of the falls on our side, New York side, one time.
Oh my God.
We took the elevator down and climbed up the side.
That's crazy.
All the way up to the top.
How long did that take?
Yeah, it only took about 15 minutes. And I was friends with an Indian.
Uh-huh.
And he went right up there, and of course we had to follow him.
He shimmied up. Was that maybe that wasn't his first time?
I don't know, but Don Watson, he was a pretty good guy, and all of us had to follow him right up there. So what is he doing? So we had to do it too.
Was it a small town where you grew up?
Well, to me it wasn't. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Niagara Falls is a city close to Buffalo, 20
Yeah.
miles away. Buffalo is kind of big, but at that time it didn't seem small.
Right.
Now, New York City, I didn't like New York City too much. I went through there 3 different times traveling to
Yeah.
other parts of the country.
Yeah.
But Niagara Falls, I really did like.
A nice town.
I like Grand Island too. Did a lot of fishing and hunting over there.
Did you have any certain hobbies that you'd like to play, or was there something that the town was known for that you'd like to get into?
Well, when I was a kid, we used to hunt and fish all the time. We used to ride our bikes over the Grand Island, camp out for a week sometimes, and hunt and fish. Caught a lot of fish. We actually cooked them too and ate them. That was the Niagara River. That's where I learned how to swim.
Cold water.
Right.
Some of my childhood wasn't all that great, but a lot of it was. My mother met a man, as my stepfather. She was married to him for 45 years, and that was the love of her life. Moved him back up to New York here just recently.
I remember you telling me about that.
Took me 4 times to get him up there and back.
Oh no.
And that's after being told I would never drive again.
Wow.
After the fall I had in 2003.
Well, let's talk about that. You mentioned you were in Charlotte at the time. Will you tell us what happened? And
I was the head of a carpenter crew, and we had about a week off.
okay.
It was in April, and I was over at a friend's 3rd floor apartment, sitting on the hand railing, lost my balance, fell onto the sidewalk. Well, the worst part of it was that I slammed the right side of my head onto the sidewalk, and I was in a coma for a month, and the doctors and nurses said that I would never walk or talk right again. I broke a bunch of bones, but the worst part of it was they had to drain the blood and the fluid out of my head. I was in a coma for about a month. When I came to, I didn't really know how to talk too good, and couldn't walk because of all the busted bones, and I got up and tried to walk away, tried to go back to work. That did not work out.
And you told me when you woke up, who was sitting there?
My mother. And she said that was the first time I had spoken in over a month. And I had woken up a time or two from the coma, but they knocked me back out.
Oh.
And I tried to get up and go, and I took her down with me, and that's the first time that she heard me spoke. I'm so sorry, Mom. And I made sure I was on the bottom when we both fell onto the floor.
It's amazing just to think the state that you were in, and you knew who your mom was, and you had the instinct when you fell to get under her. That's pretty amazing.
I always loved my mom.
Oh.
Yeah. I love most of my family. I've lost a sister and a brother, both of my grandmothers, and Aunt Sonia, she helped me raise me at one time, Grammy Buck. My mom came back and got us all together.
Oh.
Of course, then Billy died, and that was it for Mom. She kind of...
Was Billy her husband?
Billy was my youngest brother.
Oh, that's your brother.
Yeah, he was.
And then your sister, so we're both, were you the oldest?
I was the oldest, and then there was Sonia, then Justin. He's still alive in Charlotte.
Okay.
My mom kind of lost it after my youngest brother died, and I feel bad about that because I should have done better by her. I mean, I didn't when I was younger. When I grew up, I started doing more and more and more. She was right down the street in the nursing home, and I went there 3 times a day with her meals. She wouldn't eat the food that they served her.
Yeah. I just want to backtrack a little bit. You were talking about your fall and everything. What did your recovery process look like afterwards?
That was... Okay, my mom was still alive, and she went to bat. She got all kinds of help from me. This one, they were living in Mount Pleasant off Candlewood Drive. And she got my Medicaid for me before I even went to Social Security court.
Wow.
And she just kept calling. And she, saying that, it really needs the help. It needs the transportation. I was not driving at that time. And I really couldn't talk very well at that time either. It took like 2 years. And I started walking better and better, and I was walking all around. Of course, my mom would call the police on me. And all I was doing was out walking, going to the store to get stuff for her or me. And here come the police, the Mount Pleasant police. So, Mr. Buck, are you Kenneth Buck? And I says, yes, I am. Please get in the car. We got to take you home. I said, why?
She was worried about you.
My mom was very, very worried about me. Finally, when I did get the big check from Social Security, of course, I had to pay my representative. And then I paid my stepfather's pickup truck off. I mean, that was about the only money I had been able, It was about $3,000, and I still had a couple $1,000. So I spent a lot of that on my mother. So I tried to make up, but when I was younger, oh boy, it was not a very pretty sight a lot of times. Okay.
In your teenage years you're talking about?
Well, all the way until
30s, 20s?
Well, late 20s. I started straightening up.
Yeah.
Okay. Early 30s, I was getting really straight by then. But before that, I was not a very good child. I quit all of it besides smoking cigarettes, which I need to get hypnotized for that.
Yeah.
Although
I really did like that Chantix for quite a while.
Well, I heard the hypnosis does work. I know. And this is so funny. I was literally just watching an interview with Ellen and another comedian, and Tiffany Haddish, and she was saying that she wanted to quit smoking, and she played the YouTube hypnosis to quit smoking while she was sleeping at night. and she did it for like a week straight, and by the end of the week she woke up and just didn't want to smoke anymore.
There you go. That's free
So
hypnosis.
maybe I
That's a real good idea.
yeah, maybe I'll have to find some videos
find that
for you
link.
to look up and try.
That means I'll have to have a TV in my bedroom. And,
Yeah, we can do it on your phone.
yeah, okay. I'm willing to try just about anything. Save me a lot of money, too.
Yeah.
That's one really good thing about the Joseph Floyd Manor is allowed me to save money, buy a car,
Yeah.
and keep the upkeep on the car.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I made my mind up to do.
Yeah.
And plus my sister-in-law, Deborah Buck, and my brother, Justin, says once you make up your mind to do something, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Well, for those of you who are just tuning in, I'm Jae Smith along with my co-host Summer Anderson, and we're talking to Kenneth Buck today. We're talking a little bit about his life and some hypnosis tricks. And we're going to be right back. We're going to take a short break here and play a song that he's chosen called Sitting on the Dock of the Bay by Otis Redding. So enjoy the music, and thanks for listening to OHM Radio, your non-profit, non-commercial radio station.
I left my home in Georgia, headed for the Frisco Bay. 'Cause I've had nothing to live for, and look like nothing's gonna come my way. So I'm just gonna sit on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Look like nothing's gonna change. Everything still remains the same. I can't do what 10 people tell me to do, so I guess I'll remain the same. Listen, sitting here resting my bones.
And we're back. Thank you so much for tuning in to 96.3 Ohm Radio, your nonprofit, non-commercial local radio station. We're broadcasting live from Workshop at 1503 King Street inside the Ohm Radio station. My name is Summer Anderson, and I, along with Jae Smith, are the host of Tales from the Manor. For those of you just joining us, we've been talking to Kenneth Buck, our amazing guest today, about some incredible life experiences he's had, how he's come back from them, and about family and taking care of one another. Let's talk about Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. Arguably one of the absolute greatest songs ever written and sung by the amazing Otis Redding. What's that song mean to you?
Well, my mother worked at a lot of different jobs in Niagara Falls, and we moved along quite a bit, back to South Carolina and then North Carolina. And my stepfather always loved the 60s music too, so I kind of was raised up on that, and I just loved that song. I actually went out to California, San Francisco, and sat on the dock and watched the waves go. I just loved it. I mean, I liked the way it sung, and the meaning to me is, patience and, waiting for the good to come.
Right. When you look back at your life and all that you've gone through, what are you the proudest of?
Well, when I was working really good in Charlotte, being a carpenter, people used to call and because they wanted me to come to their job site.
Okay.
And they really liked the work I used to do. I don't think I could do it anymore. I can't get up high anymore.
Yeah, I support that.
My balance is just gone,
Yeah.
and I'm really not supposed to get up onto a ladder. I really like working with both of my brothers.
Yeah.
We used to have a good time a lot of time. Most of the time we used to have a good time.
You can't get along all the time.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't always good, but most of the time it was good.
It's special to be able to work with your siblings, I would imagine.
Yeah, man, I was always going around. Well, I went out to Oklahoma, help lay gas pipe wells.
Okay.
And I traveled a lot more than they did.
It sounds like you traveled a good bit.
Yeah, I liked Alabama.
Where in
Oklahoma.
Alabama were you?
Huntsville.
Okay.
I was working at the Redstone Arsenal.
Oh, nice.
Again, making really, really good money.
Yeah.
And then, of course, my brother died.
And that's when he passed away, when you were living in
I
Huntsville.
was in Alabama, and of course, my brother got a hold of me and said, I have to tell you something really bad, Kim. And I said, I already know. He said, what? I says, I was dreaming I was over there at a friend's house. I was laying on his couch, and I was still drinking at that time. And I was dreaming, and he came to me in a dream. And he told me what he'd done, about how it happened. I woke up, of course, and there here comes Doris from the apartment. So I got some bad news for him. I said, I already know. He said, what? How? I said, I just had this dream to where he came to me, and I went down there and I called my brother, and he said, how do you know? And I told him. He says, you already knew. I said, yes, I did. We were pretty close. That's what hurt my mom so bad. I mean, I had to go home then. And of course, they said, well, if you leave for over 2 weeks, we can't get you back. And I said, well, that's the way it has to be. I'll find another job.
Yeah.
I went back to Charlotte then, stayed with my mom for a while. Of course, then I went off to West Virginia to build a metal roofs. That was a sports arena at one of the colleges in West Virginia. I should have done more. I should have stayed longer. I should have tried to help her more. She sure turned around and helped me when I got hurt.
Well, it sounds like you did. You left Alabama and went to be with her.
I should have stayed longer. Should have done more, like I said. I really believe I should have.
Well, I think we all, in situations like this, I think we all look back and say, well, I wish I had done more. I wish I'd stayed longer. But, you know, the fact is that you showed up.
Right.
Well, of course.
Right, but not everybody does that.
And I'm sure what you did, whether you think it's small or big, was appreciated. And she knew, you know, that's what you could give at the time. And, you know, we can't always just go back and dwell on that. I wish I did. I wish if this, if that. It's what you did and the person that you did it for. It was well received. And you go forward in life and you continue to go with the same notion of, okay, if there's ever another opportunity where I can do more, I'm going to do more here. Or you just keep getting greater situation by situation. So I know from her that, and I don't even know her, but I know that she appreciated it. I know that your family did. And yeah, I think there's a special bond that you shared. And, you know, they're all looking down and smiling at you and keeping up the good work. And I know you are because Mr. Buck, you come into my office almost every day. and multiple times a day, and I love it. Every time I see him come in, I see you smile, and he'll stop at the door first and smile and wave at me and then come in. Make sure I'm not busy. But every time, you always have a smile on your face. You always have a laugh to share. And most of the time you don't even show up empty-handed, and I don't say anything that you have to do this or that, you know, I want this and that. You're always thinking about others, and I can just speak for myself because, you know, I'm the recipient, but you're always thinking about me, and that makes me happy, and it makes me smile while I'm at work because you know what goes in day out there and how hectic it can be. So yeah, I think your heart just keeps getting kinder. And so just keep that in mind for you.
I'm a true believer in the here and now.
Yeah.
The present.
That's right.
I do think back about, well, some of them were really, really good. I mean, some of them not so good, but I try to concentrate on the good, not the bad.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'll keep doing the same thing.
Yeah, that's the best way to live life.
Yeah. I like the present. Try to think good about the future. Okay, I really did. Like winning the big lottery.
Yeah.
Let me spit
now, if you
that
win
word
that,
out.
you know. You still got to come in the office.
Yeah. First of all,
right.
I had to buy the ticket first.
Yeah.
So,
Well, to totally switch gears, has there ever been a person that has captured your heart?
3 of them.
3.
oh,
Yeah. I was drinking.
Uh-huh.
Well, not all the time, but I was. In my life, I had been a heavy drinker. I wouldn't drink every day or even every night.
Yeah.
But when I did, I really drank.
Right.
I almost got married twice, but the drinking kind of killed that.
Yeah.
And I may have a son, maybe.
Okay.
She captured my heart, but I was out of town working, making a living for
Right.
both of us.
Yeah.
And she calls me up and says, I think I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. I says, I've been out of town for about 3 months.
Okay.
And I says, sure it's mine.
Yeah.
That's the bad thing, I know.
Well, no, I mean,
And
I think it's an important question to ask. I think it's your right to ask that question. I would not feel bad about that.
I went back and walked her through the whole,
Yeah.
rest of the pregnancy, almost 9 months.
Okay.
I guess it was 8, 7.5, 8.
Uh-huh.
And I ran into a friend I was working with, and we looked like brothers. We were always being mistaken for brothers.
Oh,
I said,
really?
I was over there with Doris when you were out of town. I said, oh, really? And he says, yeah. And I laughed, and I says, thank you. And I left.
Listen, you handled that with an amazing amount of grace.
yeah.
Not many people could hold their tongue and, yeah.
The boy did look like both of us.
It's hard to know. Yeah.
We looked a lot
It's
alike.
pretty, yeah.
So I said, okay.
All right. Well,
I gave her all my information, my mother's maiden name, my social security name,
yep.
my full name, Kenneth Buck. And I
Right.
says, you find out who that boy is, you call me. And I
Let me
gave her
know.
some phone numbers from my family
Yeah.
in Charlotte.
Yeah.
And I says, they always have the same phone number. I says, be sure who the daddy is, and
Yeah.
I'll come back.
Find out.
Yeah.
And she never called.
No. Well, in California, I was in love with Andrea. That didn't really work out too good. For about 1.5 years, I guess.
Yeah.
That's why I remember that song so much. We had just broken up, and I was still there. I was there for about almost 2 years. And when that didn't work out, I was still working. Landscaping out there was a big thing. I left. By that time, I had to hitchhike back
Yeah.
all the way to South Carolina.
What? I mean, you have got to have some good hitchhiking stories, and I would like to hear at least one, please.
I gained weight. The truckers.
Oh.
That was back in the early 80s.
Uh-huh.
And I actually gained weight.
Yeah.
I mean, the truckers would pick me up and then call ahead and ask for another trucker to pick me up.
Wow.
Every time I got in another truck, they said, we're going to get something to eat. And I was already full.
Oh, my God. That's so nice, though, that they were lining up your rides for you.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I would talk to them, and
Yeah.
we'd get along, and they would call ahead and say, this guy's no problem. He's,
Right.
not running from anything or anything like that.
Yeah.
Just needs to ride back home.
Wow.
It still took me about a week.
Wow.
I did stop in Colorado and work for about 3 or 4 days,
Okay.
detailing cars.
Okay.
And it took me about a week and a half, 2 weeks to get there.
Were you ever scared, or not really?
I guess I was too young.
Yeah.
Not really.
Well, it sounds like you got one good trucker, and then he called ahead, and maybe that helped clear the path a little bit.
Yeah, and I had to sleep out a couple times, but I was young.
Yeah.
It didn't matter to me. In fact, I think I had just turned 21.
Okay.
I mean, the world was still my oyster.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for talking to us today. It's been a great conversation. I just want to ask you just one little quick question before we go. How would you like to be remembered?
Well, later in life, as I got older, I think I got a little wiser, more giving. As a good man, a generous man. And that's about it. Don't cry when I die. Do not cry, because I know there is an afterlife. I strongly believe in Jesus and good Lord. And I know there is an afterlife, and everybody that has died before you, you'll be there with them again.
You've been listening to Enough Pies, Tales from the Manor, a conversation with residents of the Joseph Floyd Manor with me and my co-host, Jae Smith. To learn more about Enough Pie, a nonprofit that uses creativity to connect and empower our community on Charleston's Upper Peninsula, please visit enoughpie.org. To learn more about Ohm Radio, please visit www.ohmradio963.org. It's been wonderful speaking with you, Kenneth.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time, guys. Remember to spark joy and circulate positive energy and keep a smile on your face.